Because I accidentally took a knife for Jason, he chased after me for a full 10 years. On the day I accepted his proposal, I looked into his eyes seriously and said, "Jason, if you betray me one day, I will completely disappear from your world." At that time, he hugged me tightly and swore with tears in his eyes, "Stella, I will never betray you." After marriage, he completely turned into a wife-spoiling maniac. He not only took care of everything for me personally, but also when young and beautiful girls confessed their love to him, he was afraid that I might misunderstand, so he directly sent them abroad. To announce his love for me to the whole world, he even spent half of his fortune and 10 years building that skyscraper named Stella. Everyone knew that he loved me deeply, and I thought so too. However, just like this man, when I was 3 months pregnant, I found a newly opened box of condoms in his car. Without hesitation, I canceled my ID card and completely disappeared from Jason's world. But why did he go crazy when he was the one who broke the promise first? Since I got pregnant, Jason had personally sent me to the hospital for every prenatal checkup. A high and mighty company president was extremely proficient in doing such trifles as queuing up and paying fees. Although the child in my belly was still just a tiny embryo, he was always so excited that his cheeks flushed and his eyes were filled with tears. More than once, he hugged me in an extremely happy tone and said, "Stella, am I dreaming? We're going to have our own child." I always laughed at him for being silly. He then buried his head in my neck, crying and laughing at the same time. "Stella, I'm just so happy." I was not good at expressing myself. Whenever this happened, I would always hug him back tightly to show him with my actions that I felt the same. He was the one who helped me walk out of the shadow of my father's affair and my mother's breakdown and jumping off the building. I thought he was the only salvation in my life. Until recently, he was always so busy that he left early and came back late. I didn't want him to be too tired, so I drove to the hospital by myself. And then I saw that box of condoms in the car, with a new date and newly opened. A teardrop slid down from the corner of my eye. The cold coupling agent slid along my belly, and the doctor said with a big smile, "Mrs. Jason, did Mr. Jason actually trust you to come for the checkup alone today?" His love for me was so passionate that everyone knew about it, but at this moment, it only made me feel bitter. I gave a soft Then, following the doctor's finger, I looked at the tiny embryo on the screen and said, "Please arrange an abortion for me." As soon as I got home, Jason rushed back in a hurry. Seeing that I was lying safely on the bed, the nervous and anxious look on his face relaxed. Seeing that I opened my eyes, he walked gently to my side. "Sorry, Stella, I've been so busy recently. Why didn't you wait for me to take you to the hospital? But the Stella building will be completed in half a month. Just consider it as a gift for our 10th wedding anniversary." His sincere expression didn't seem fake. Over the years, whenever there was a detail that was overlooked, even if I wasn't angry, he would blame himself first. When he did something well, he would wait expectantly for my praise. In front of me, he was always so sincere as if he wanted to show me his heart. But why did this Jason cheat on me? My throat felt so choked that I didn't say anything and just looked at him quietly. He looked a bit uncomfortable and said tentatively, "Did you drive the Cullinan today?" His nervous eyes made me feel bitter in my heart. When the words came to my lips, I said softly, "No, I drove the Audi." "Right, you've never liked being high profile." Only then did his always tense back completely relax. Seeing that I looked tired, he hugged me into his arms lovingly and said, "Why do you look so bad? Are you tired today?" It wasn't that I was tired. It was that I had killed our child with my own hands. I answered him silently in my heart. I had always been a quiet person. Seeing that I didn't say anything, he wasn't angry either. "Darling, you've worked hard. I'll make your favorite lean pork congee for you." While speaking, he tucked me in and then gave me a gentle kiss on my forehead. At the moment when he turned around, I suddenly called him, "Jason." He gave a puzzled and then turned to look at me. "What's the matter, darling? Do you still remember what we said when you proposed to me?" I looked into his eyes calmly and didn't miss the flash of panic in his eyes. But soon he smiled, looking confident and gentle. Of course I remember. Why? Are you afraid that someone will snatch your handsome husband away? Seeing that I didn't say anything, he turned back affectionately and gently scraped the tip of my nose. Soon, he squatted in front of me, holding up 4 fingers. I swear that Jason will never betray Stella in this life. Hearing this, I clenched my palms tightly to hold back my tears. In his clear eyes, I smiled gently. Our 10th anniversary will be in half a month. I also have a gift for you. I took out a beautifully packaged gift box from the bedside table. His eyes sparkled with joy. Stella, what is it? Seeing that he couldn't help but want to open it, I held his hand. It's a 10th anniversary gift. Of course, it should be opened on that day. Yes, I'm too impatient. He carefully put the gift box away and then went downstairs to cook. When he gently closed the door, my cell phone rang. Stella, I need to remind you again that after you cancel all your identity information, it means that you will completely disappear, and it will also cause a lot of inconvenience to your life. Are you sure? Sounds of cooking came from downstairs. For 10 years, as long as Jason was at home, although there were nannies and chefs at home, he would still learn to cook every dish that I liked by himself. He said that if he loved me, he should let me feel it. But now, these happinesses had become the source of my pain. After coming back to my senses, I said extremely firmly, I'm sure. I just want to disappear completely. After hanging up the phone, I fell asleep in a daze. When I woke up again, the smell of lean pork congee filled my nose. I walked out of the room. Jason was busy in the kitchen downstairs. His tall figure was leaning against the stove. One hand was stirring the lean pork congee, and the other hand was pressing the voice button to reply to messages. There was a faint smile on his lips. Was it her? I asked myself in my heart as if I was torturing myself. Noticing my gaze, Jason put down his phone and looked at me. As soon as I sat down at the dining table, Jason brought the congee to me. He picked out the ginger in the congee and carefully blew on it to cool it down. It's ready to eat. I put the lean pork congee with just the right temperature into my mouth. The taste that I used to love the most now tasted like chewing wax. After dinner, Jason lay in bed with me. Even after 10 years of marriage, he still liked to hold me while sleeping. In a half-awake state, I heard Jason talking on the phone in the bathroom with a slightly angry tone. I've told you not to call this cell phone. If my wife finds out, you know the consequences. The midnight was too quiet, and the helpless crying of the girl clearly came from the receiver. But no one answered your other cell phone. There's a power outage here. It's so dark. I'm so scared. Hearing this, Jason's angry voice softened. Just this once. Never again. After saying that, he came back to the room and squatted in front of me, saying softly, Stella, there's something urgent at the company. I'll go there first. I gave a dazed him. He looked at me affectionately for a while before getting up and leaving. The moment the door closed, I sat up on the bed with clear eyes. I casually put on a coat and took a taxi to follow his car. 15 minutes later, his car stopped. A young and pretty girl was crouching at the entrance of the high-end community, curling up her body. My mind went blank for a moment. This girl was exactly Luna, who had confessed her love to Jason when drunk before and was sent abroad by him. At that time, she also followed me on Weibo. She sent me private messages, asking me to give Jason to her. For this reason, I was afraid that she might be too extreme, so I advised her that she was still young and had a long way to go. Why should she focus on a married man? Later, when I got pregnant, she began to frequently show her affection on Weibo. I thought she had finally moved on. But I never expected that the person she was affectionate with was Jason. Under the dim streetlight, as soon as the girl saw Jason, her beautiful eyes lit up. Then she threw herself into his arms with a bear hug and gave him a hard kiss on the face. I knew you wouldn't leave me alone. Jason looked around nervously and tried to pull the girl off him. The girl, however, hugged his neck even tighter mischievously. Finally, Jason resigned himself to holding her and got into the car. I was like a clown, hiding in the dark and watching the two of them walk into the nearest hotel hand in hand. Soon, I received a text message from Jason on my cell phone. Darling, be good. There's something a bit troublesome at the company. I won't be back tonight. I stared at this text message blankly, until a tissue blocked my sight. The taxi driver's sister sighed sympathetically. Wipe your tears. Men are all like this. Only then did I notice that unconsciously, my face was already covered with tears. Thank you. I politely accepted the kindness from this stranger. On the way back, I gently leaned my head against the car window. Those updates posted by Luna were like thousands of barbed hooks, tearing at my flesh and blood. So what was Jason thinking when he was affectionate with Luna and then held me and said that he loved me? How could his acting skills be so good? I covered my chest, and my tears couldn't stop flowing, pouring out as if they were going to drain all my strength. I'm in so much pain, Jason. It hurts even more than the knife wound I got when I saved you. When I got home, I opened Luna's Weibo. Sure enough, there was another new update. Woo woo woo. That bad uncle is so fierce. My new dress was even torn. Humph. She had quite a lot of fans on Weibo. Soon some people were screaming under her post. I stared at that familiar hand and silently liked her post with a small account. The process of canceling my identity still needed some time. I began to pay attention to everything around me. When I found that the perfume I used, the bags I carried, and even my wedding ring had all appeared in her posts, I finally understood. These were all her silent declarations of war. Fortunately, I would leave soon. So I became quieter than before. Jason didn't come back until the third day, still wearing that same dress. Although it was neat and tidy, without even a single wrinkle, I still noticed the tooth marks faintly visible under his collar as he moved. Probably sensing my lack of interest, the day before our wedding anniversary, Jason apologized to me affectionately. He said that he shouldn't have ignored me these days and that he would take me out for dinner. Thinking that I was about to leave anyway, I might as well take this as a proper goodbye. When we arrived at the entrance of the restaurant, I saw Luna, who was live streaming with her mobile phone held up. Jason walked past her with a cold expression on his face. But as soon as he got to the seat, he took out his phone. The window glass reflected the screen of his phone. See? This is the restaurant that my boyfriend bought for me. He even changed the name here to Luna, specially. Luna sounded so happy and sweet. However, there were a bunch of comments below saying that she was vain, showing off her wealth, and shameless. After all, it was widely known that she had failed in her confession and was driven out of the city of Beijing by Jason. Looking at these comments, in the live streaming room, Luna had tears in her eyes and defended herself aggrievedly. I'm telling the truth. Luna was really given to me by my boyfriend. I sat opposite, flipping through the menu, silently watching Jason's face across from me growing darker and darker, until his hands were typing quickly. I stopped ordering and logged into the live streaming room with a small account. At a glance, I saw Jason's comment, "This restaurant indeed belongs to Miss Luna." Because of his comment, the atmosphere in the live streaming room changed. Damn. This is President Jason's verified account. Didn't President Jason drive Luna away in person before? Why is he coming out to speak for her now? Isn't it obvious? The big shot behind Luna must be really powerful. Even President Jason has to show some respect to him. By the way, this Luna restaurant is a top-notch restaurant in the city of Beijing. It must cost at least hundreds of millions, right? And he just gave it to her like that? I'm afraid there's another wife-spoiling maniac after President Jason. Tell me, between President Jason and the mysterious big shot behind Luna, who spoils his wife more? Jason was so famous that as soon as he showed up, the popularity of the live streaming room skyrocketed. Everyone also started speculating about who the person behind Luna was. Some even started a vote on whether Jason spoiled me more or the mysterious big shot behind Luna spoiled his wife more. Everyone was so enthusiastic. In the live streaming room, Luna's bright little face also turned from crying to smiling. Of course it's my boyfriend. He's the best man in the world. He said he loves me the most. Because of the girl's playful words, a gentle smile appeared on the corner of Jason's mouth. When he put down his phone, he realized that I had been staring at him. What's the matter, honey? Have you ordered yet? I shook my head. I don't know what to order. Then let me do it. I know your taste better than you do yourself. During the meal, I went to the washroom. I received a strange text message on my phone. When I clicked to check it, I found that it was from Luna. Stella, stop pretending. You clicked into my homepage 3 times yesterday. You know everything, right? Do you know how much Jason adores my body? So what if you're pregnant? Brother Jason said that if he had met me first, he wouldn't have fallen in love with you at all. Also, guess which is more important in his heart, the stars or the moon? There was a picture attached showing her scratched calf. The text message was highly provocative. I didn't reply and directly dialed another number. After confirming that the household registration cancellation process could be completed today, I went back to my seat. As soon as I sat down, Jason said anxiously, Stella, there's an urgent matter at the company. I've already ordered the dishes. Could you please eat by yourself first? I looked at his eyes indifferently. Okay. He stared at me blankly. I don't know if he was stung by the indifference in my eyes. He walked forward. Stella, are you angry? Then I'll go to the company to take a look first and come back to accompany you immediately. His hand tightly grasped my wrist. I pried his fingers off one by one and shook my head with a smile. No, I'll go back by myself after eating. Stella, if you're unhappy, I'll. Halfway through his words, his phone started vibrating nonstop again. This time he didn't hesitate. After leaving a sentence of, I'll take you here to eat next time, he turned around and left in big strides. Unfortunately, Jason, there won't be a next time. Watching his back, I finished the meal alone and said to the empty seat opposite, Jason, goodbye forever. When I got home, Luna sent me dozens of text messages showing off. I ignored her. After giving Aunt Wu and several servants at home a holiday, I quietly tidied up this home where I had lived for 10 years. The luxury goods and haute couture that filled an entire cloakroom. I found an auction website and asked them to help me sell them and donate the proceeds. There were also the double portraits that Jason always dragged me to take every year. He always said that when we were old and couldn't walk anymore, we would sit together and look at them slowly. The hundreds of love letters he wrote when he was chasing me. The commitment letters he framed and so on. All the memories and traces were burned clean by me. Until I was sure that not even a single strand of my hair could be found in this home. Only then did I take the anniversary gift to the courier station and ask them to deliver it on time to the unveiling ceremony of the Stella building tomorrow. I also took screenshots of all the text messages that Luna sent me and set them to be sent to Jason's phone at a fixed time. I got a temporary ID card and got on the plane. When taking off, I looked at the towering Stella building in the sky and murmured in my heart, Jason, I hope you'll like the gift I sent. Jason always felt that his Stella wasn't very happy today. He regarded me as more important than his own life. Even if I frowned a little, he would blame himself for a long time. He reflected in his heart whether he hadn't done well enough recently. Originally, after realizing that he had ignored me a bit because of Luna, he planned to keep some distance from her. But today the girl was injured and was crying pitifully on the phone. He couldn't bear it again. Now he had sent her to the hospital. He was about to leave, but Luna opened her teary big eyes and pulled him aggrievedly. I know you love Stella, but even as a bedmate, can't you stay with me for a while? It was he who sent the girl abroad back then, which made the opportunistic enterprises think that he was targeting Luna's family and directly took sides to bring down Luna's family. Although he didn't mean to, he was indeed responsible. Luna's parents also jumped off the building and died because of the family's bankruptcy. He compromised again. Seeing this, Luna cried and threw herself into his arms. Brother Jason, you love me, right? Jason didn't say anything. All that came to his mind was my image. Luna's shoulders were shaking violently, and her tears wet his shirt. Can't you even lie to me? I love you. Jason still said this sentence. Luna stopped crying and smiled, and took the initiative to offer her red lips. Between the two of them, like dry firewood and a raging fire, but Jason pushed her away. Anxiety made him call and send text messages to me. No one answered. He called Aunt Wu again. Because I had told her in advance that I was going to prepare a surprise for Jason. So the message he got from Aunt Wu was, I had already gone to bed. He felt relieved and caught the girl's naughty little hands and started to take the initiative. Originally, he planned to pick me up and go to the unveiling ceremony together. But Luna was so clingy last night. He got up a bit late. He sent me a text message asking me to go there by myself first. He then rushed directly to the scene. When he arrived, there were already a bunch of reporters waiting there, doing live broadcasts. He checked his watch several times, but still didn't see me. The uneasiness in his heart grew stronger and stronger. The hand holding the phone started to tremble a little, but he was still stubbornly calling me. Soon, the driver at home came over with an ugly look on his face. Sir, after Madam gave us a holiday last night, she didn't come back. And all the things related to Madam in the house are gone. What did you say? Jason's hand that was dialing the phone stopped, and he stared in disbelief. Madam, it seems that she has left. Jason just felt his head buzzing. He pushed through the crowd and was about to rush out. The courier delivered the exquisite gift box that I had prepared to him. His eyes were red, and he took it with trembling hands, muttering constantly, Yes, Stella always keeps her promises. She promised that she would always be with me. This must be a surprise, she prepared playfully. She's waiting for me to find her. It must be. Although he said so, the bow that he couldn't untie several times revealed the fear in his heart. Finally, the gift box was opened. When he saw clearly what was inside, he instantly lost his balance. He took out 3 documents inside. The first one was the last ultrasound photo of the child. The second one was my miscarriage diagnosis certificate. The third one, he took a deep breath and suddenly said to the crowd with a trembling voice, Stella, did you have an abortion and didn't dare to tell me? But I won't blame you. As long as I have you, it's enough. Don't scare me. Come out quickly. I said that I would die without you. But no one responded to him. The reporters and the others just looked at him helplessly. At the same time, they were also sighing about his deep affection for me. Finally, he still moved away the second document and saw the signed divorce agreement. The color drained from his face instantly. Tears fell uncontrollably, big drops hitting the ground. He swayed a little and quickly tore up the divorce agreement as if it were some kind of fierce monster. He then looked at the driver with a murderous look in his eyes. What on earth happened? Stella was fine yesterday. How could this happen? The driver was trembling with fear. He had worked for Jason for many years. He knew clearly that Jason always lost control and became extreme when it came to my affairs. The driver opened his mouth but didn't know how to answer. At this time, his phone rang. When he saw that the sender was me, his eyes lit up with surprise immediately. He unlocked it successfully after 4 or 5 attempts. But the moment he saw the message clearly, his eyes dimmed completely. The whole person was filled with a dying despair. I had forwarded dozens of provocative pictures, text messages, voice messages, etc., that Luna sent to me to show off to him. He clicked on those provocative voice messages over and over again as if torturing himself. His eyes were completely red. The crowd also changed from being shocked at first to boiling with excitement later. Everyone looked at each other, and the flashlights kept flashing at him. After all, with Jason's influence, this matter would definitely be on the hot search tomorrow. Some clever media started using drones. So even the pictures and words on his phone could be seen clearly. Luna's account had quite a number of fans and was now recognized by people. Jason stared blankly at my message. Jason, I lied to Aunt Wu. Don't trouble them. Don't look for me. Let's part on good terms. Don't, Stella, don't be so cruel to me. After saying that, he pushed aside the media and drove away. As soon as he opened the door, he saw the home that was still warm and happy yesterday. Now it was empty. The servants were standing there helplessly. He went crazy looking for me everywhere. Finally, he only found the ring that he put on my finger himself when he proposed to me. The sentence, Stella, I will never betray you," boomed in his ears. He slid down and sat on the edge of the bed, clutching the ring tightly in his hand and pounding his head in pain continuously, shouting, "I'm sorry, Stella. I was wrong. I'm truly wrong." Thinking of what I had said about disappearing, he then realized that all of my accounts on the whole internet had been cancelled. He was extremely frightened and stumbled out of the door. After starting the vehicle, he stepped hard on the accelerator. All the way, his heart was pounding and his hands were shaking so much that he almost got into several car accidents. Finally, he rushed to the police station. But when he typed my name into the computer, it showed, "No such person found." I directly lifted the quilt and got out of bed, planning to bypass him and go to the guest bedroom, but in the next moment, "If your lover is still alive and well, you might as well go and check if she has encountered something insoluble and desperate. As long as the problem is solved, she will surely come back on her own." The policeman looked at Jason with eyes full of sympathy. Probably he had mistaken Jason for a poor man who was suddenly and inexplicably abandoned by his wife. However, his words made Jason even more desperate. I had always been well protected by him. But now it was also him who had driven me to such despair that I even didn't hesitate to cancel my identity. Those voice messages, videos, and photos rushed into his mind one after another. He couldn't imagine how heartbroken I was when I saw these things. He walked out of the police station in a daze. A car almost hit him. But he didn't show any intention of stopping. The car owner got out of the car, pulled him, and cursed angrily, "Are you fucking out of your mind?" "Yes, I'm out of my mind." The car owner met his empty eyes, and his angry expression froze. Then he let go of his hand. And then he left, grumbling, "Damn it. I really ran into a crazy one." When Jason got back into the car and saw the "Safe Journey" pendant that I had embroidered for him by hand, a glimmer of light gradually gathered in his eyes. "Stella, I will definitely find you." When Luna called, Jason happened to arrive downstairs at her house. On the phone, she was crying, saying that there were people scolding her under her accounts now. She asked Jason what to do. Jason didn't say a word and directly knocked on her door. As soon as the door opened, Luna still had her innocent big eyes wide open as before, and 2 lines of tears just rolled down. She looked so pitiful. But it was precisely her behavior like this that had made Jason fall into trouble again and again. And behind her innocence was such a hideous side in the future. She had hurt the love of his life to pieces. Finally, she resolutely abandoned him. Luna hadn't realized that something was wrong yet. She threw herself into his arms as before. But Jason didn't catch her and comfort her as usual. Instead, he said coldly, "So I warned you so many times. Why did you still expose our affairs to her? Do you know that for so many years, I couldn't bear to see her shed a single tear? Whenever I thought about how sad she would be when you sent these to her, I wished I could die." "Luna, how dare you? I deserve to die, and you deserve to die too. But why is it my Stella who was forced to leave?" Luna sensed his madness. Her eyes were full of horror, and she ran towards the door. But Jason grabbed her hair with one hand. Then he choked her throat. No matter how much she struggled and begged, he wouldn't let go. Until Luna's little face turned blue with veins bulging due to suffocation, he threw her to the ground. "Sorry, brother Jason. I just love you too much. Please let me go. I'm younger and prettier than Stella. I'm more obedient than her. I can do whatever she can do. Anyway, Stella has left. Let's be together openly, okay?" Luna raised her little face, crying pitifully. But Jason's face became darker and darker. He kicked her in the chest. Luna let out a shrill cry, and blood oozed from the corner of her mouth. Several of her ribs were broken. Jason looked at her coldly. "What the hell are you? How dare you compare yourself with my Stella?" After having Luna dragged out and sent to the mental hospital, he went back to the company. Because of his affair, Jason's family was also greatly affected. The stock price dropped sharply. Quite a number of shareholders were complaining about it. But no matter who talked to him, he still went his own way and used all his strength to look for my whereabouts. When Jason found me, I was volunteering as a doctor without borders in another country. The reason why I chose this path actually traced back to my mother, who was a doctor. She had told me that before marrying my father, her dream was to be a doctor without borders. Later, although she couldn't escape the clutches of life, I still remembered clearly how her eyes shone when she talked about her dream. So I came here. Although the war here was coming to an end, the hardships hadn't ended yet. Countless men, women, and children died in the war, and their homes were destroyed. I followed the Chinese team that I had contacted online and entered this land together. Unlike the prosperous China, this place was full of deathly silence. Many children lost their legs, hands, or even other organs because of the war. Some of them lay in their mother's arms wailing in pain. Some whose parents had died lay there numbly and emptily waiting for death. I gave them bread and clean water. The women and children bowed to me again and again, speaking a language that I couldn't understand. At this moment, looking at them, I didn't even have time to feel sad for myself. Most of their doctors had been killed by bombs. The hospital had almost become a ruin. The treatment environment was very simple. There were many wounded people. I was as busy as a spinning top every day. Except for watching the live broadcast on my mobile phone that day. I hadn't even thought of Jason for almost a month. When I saw Jason again, it was during a gunfight. The evil fangs still wouldn't let go of this suffering land. They came back to bite and tear apart the little hope that had just been kindled here. I followed the main troops to evacuate. But on the way, I found a child left behind. Without thinking much, I rushed over, picked her up and wanted to leave. A stray bullet shot towards me. I instinctively shielded the child. But then I was pulled into someone's arms. The familiar scent startled me. But now wasn't the time to reminisce. Although the way he looked at me was like a puppy that had finally found its owner, I still decisively interrupted his words and dragged him to catch up with the others. Jason's shoulder was injured. But he didn't care at all. His eyes were fixed on me without blinking. As if I would disappear on the spot in the next second. It will hurt a bit. After saying this coldly, I directly used the sterilized tweezers to take out the bullet fragments for him. My calm face and neat skills made his eyes dim. Stella, you've suffered a lot. I knew why he said that. In the past 10 years, I had always lived under his protection. I didn't even dare to kill a chicken, let alone calmly open his flesh to look for the bullet. I opened my mouth to refute, but seeing him endure with cold sweat all over his head and his lips turning pale, I just gave a faint in the end. At night, Jason suddenly started to have a fever. Originally, it was another girl on duty, but the man with a high fever of 41 degrees was muddled like a child. He kept crying and making a fuss, asking for Stella. The little girl had no choice but to come to me. As soon as I opened the door, I was shocked. Even though I had been with Jason for 10 years, I had never seen him so decadent and fragile. He lay weakly on the bed, curling himself up into a ball and kept apologizing. Tears kept rolling down his handsome and thin face. I asked the little girl to go back to rest and took the antipyretic medicine. Then I walked to the bedside. Jason struggled to open his eyes. Stella. I ignored him and put the medicine to his mouth. But he took the opportunity to try to hug me. After being rejected by me, he refused to take the medicine. I frowned and turned to leave. He chased after me and struggled to fall off the bed. Don't go, please. Jason, you know me. Don't play such little tricks anymore. He was as frustrated as a child who had done something wrong. Don't be angry. It's not good for your health. I'll take it. 3 days later, Jason had basically recovered. In order not to let him make trouble, I didn't want to talk to him, but I also fulfilled my duty as a doctor to take care of him. Unlike the lifeless look when we first met, the light in his eyes grew brighter day by day. Our team also needed to move to another location. Seeing that Jason had no intention of leaving, I decided to have a good talk with him. I took him around this dilapidated and bloody land, and I distributed the food I had brought with me to those children with empty eyes. He hung his head and walked for a long, long time but still refused to speak. But there was no way ahead. So I stopped and looked at him quietly. There was neither love nor hatred in my eyes when I looked at him. I had hated him before. I knew that he would be in pain and feel guilty, so I left him the ultrasound report of the child, the abortion certificate, and the records that Luna had sent to me. But now, there was really nothing left. Finally, I still said the words that we both knew but would make him extremely painful. Go back. His eyes instantly turned red. Stella, I know I was wrong. But believe me, I was really just bewitched for a moment. You were pregnant. I was afraid that touching you would hurt you and the child. I had been restraining myself. But that day Luna drugged me. At first, I refused. But I was responsible for her parents' death, so I softened my heart. But I really don't love her. From the beginning to the end, the only person I love is you. Stella, I didn't sign the divorce agreement. We're still husband and wife. Don't leave me. Without you, I'll die. He hugged me very tightly as if he wanted to merge me into his body. I didn't struggle or respond. I just said calmly, but the old Stella is dead. The current Stella is the one I want to be. Jason, can you still feel my love when you're hugging me now? He shook his head and buried his head into my neck, refusing to let go. Seeing this, I sighed. Was it really just a momentary impulse, Jason? I've seen how you loved me, so how could I not tell the difference between desire and love? Her Weibo is full of evidence that you loved her. Maybe you loved me the most. Maybe you turned back later. Maybe you really corrected yourself. But you loved her too. While saying that you only loved me, you were showing concern for another woman. No, Stella. I just thought she was a little girl whose parents had died and it wasn't easy for her. I just felt a bit sorry for her. But feeling sorry is also a kind of love. I interrupted him and then left his embrace. Looking straight into his eyes, he gradually lowered his head. He knew that he couldn't deceive me, just as he was the one who knew me best. Similarly, I was the one who knew him best. His tall and straight body gradually hunched over. So, I've really lost you forever, right? Yes. Go back. Didn't you say that you could do anything as long as I was happy? I like my current life. Do you want to make things difficult for me? I once asked myself if I could forgive him if he didn't love Luna. The answer was, no. Let alone that he had strayed both physically and mentally. Heart-wrenching cries came from behind me. But I didn't turn my head back and walked away with my back straight and in big strides. Jason left. The young girl on our team often called her family. I also heard her sigh and say that Jason had donated half of his fortune and the Stella building. He himself had gone missing. I just smiled it off and wasn't interested in his news. What makes me happy now are the sincere smiles of the children and the lives that I've snatched back from the hands of death. The next time I heard news about Jason, it was still that young girl on our team who told me. She ran towards me with blood all over her hands. She said that Jason was dying. I was shocked. Only then did I learn that after Jason went back and donated all his fortune, he had actually joined the rescue team as well. It's just that he didn't know medicine, so he was doing logistics and rescue work. From a long distance away, I saw Jason with half of his body covered in blood and flesh. I staggered to his side. Looking at his broken leg and broken arm, I didn't know where to touch. Stella. He smiled brightly at me. I said that your dream is my dream, and I would accompany you. I've done it. I know you won't forgive me, but don't hate me, okay? He stretched out his hand, holding the ring that I had left behind. The calmness in my heart was still stirred. Tears fell uncontrollably. I held his outstretched hand and said, I don't hate you. After hearing this, Jason, who had been struggling to hold on all this time, cried and laughed. He said, Stella, I'm so regretful. Then he closed his eyes completely. I handed his body over to the team. Our compatriots would send him home. I took a last, deep look at him and hung the ring around my neck. Not far away, the young girl on our team was calling me, Stella, hurry up and follow us. I withdrew my gaze and replied, coming. The end. The crown prince of the Beijing circle, who had never posted on social media before, suddenly posted a photo on Moments showing two hands wearing couple rings holding each other. People in the comments section sent their congratulations one after another. Even my cold-natured husband also left a comment saying, "Congratulations." However, no one knew that the female lead in that photo was me. I smiled apologetically. "Sorry, husband. I just made the mistake that all women in the world would make." When I received Vincent's text message, I was still fooling around with my newly kept lover in the hotel. "I'll take the plane back to China at 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and I'll stay in the country for a while." I raised my eyebrows. "Oh, my husband in a business marriage is coming back from abroad." Suddenly, my mobile phone was snatched away by someone and casually placed on the bedside. The good-looking man took off his black short-sleeved shirt with one hand. His well-defined abdominal muscles were thus exposed in front of me without any cover. It was my favorite kind of lean muscular body. William raised his eyebrows and complained unhappily, "Can't you concentrate when you're with me?" How could my ice-cold husband be as considerate as a young male college student? I didn't bother to pay attention to Vincent's message anymore. I stretched out my arm and lazily put it around William's neck. When it came to sweet talk, I could always come up with it easily. "It's just a message from someone unimportant." "He's not as important as you. You know, I like you the most." Before I could finish speaking, William suddenly picked me up from the bed. My body was suddenly suspended in the air, so I could only hold him tighter. I punched his shoulder a little reproachfully and asked, "What do you want to do?" William looked down at me, with a faint smile in his black eyes. He said casually, "You," and a burning kiss had already fallen. My lips were sealed, and only muffled whispers of intimacy were left. The moonlight was tender. The still spring water was also stirred up. After it was over, William still leaned against me, gently rubbing his hair against my neck. It was a bit itchy. I couldn't help sighing. Male college students are really good. They're young and clingy. Now I know that the hardest thing in the world is actually not diamond. The mobile phone placed on the bedside table was still vibrating persistently. I casually glanced at it. It was still a message from Vincent. He reminded me to remember to pick him up at the airport tomorrow. So annoying. I didn't want to bother with it. William also saw the constantly popping up message bubbles on the phone screen. He let out a low hum with an ambiguous meaning. Then, I felt a bit of coolness on my finger. I raised my hand to look. A silver couple ring was put on my ring finger. William slightly curved his lips. "I just bought this couple ring today. Like this, there won't be any annoying guys pestering you in the future." Although his tone was calm, it still had a childish sense of jealousy. I just smiled indulgently. "Okay, I'll listen to you. I only want you." Since he's my little lover, I always need to coax him more. Only then was William satisfied, and his brows and eyes relaxed. He picked up his mobile phone and then held my hand with his left hand. Under the lens, the man's broad hand completely covered mine. He pressed the shutter. That extremely intimate moment was frozen like this. William posted a Moments in front of me. I propped my face with my hand and asked jokingly, "Aren't you the kind of person who never posts on social media? Why do you suddenly want to make our relationship public? Have you finally recognized me as your sugar mommy?" William paused for a moment and said in a muffled voice, "Fool, today is the 3rd-month anniversary of our being together." Then I realized it. He was expressing his love for me in his own awkward way. William propped himself up with his arm and pressed me under him again. His voice was bewitching. "You forgot our anniversary, so you should be punished. Let's do it again, okay?" This time, the kiss became even hotter. The next day when I woke up in the hotel, William had already gone back to school for classes. On the bedside table were the breakfast and a note he left. "You have a bad stomach. Remember to have breakfast." I opened the lunchbox. The steamed dumplings were still warmed out. I curved my lips. He still remembered what my favorite breakfast was. He deserved a reward. I opened my mobile phone and transferred 500,000 yuan to William. Back in the car, I raised my left hand again and quietly admired the silver ring in the sunlight. The size was just right, and the initials of my name and William's were engraved on the outer ring. It could be seen that the giver was very attentive. I took it off and put it in the glove compartment. Then, I put on the huge diamond ring from my wedding. I thought aimlessly. What was my marriage with Vincent? Probably it was just a deal to make the businesses of our two families more prosperous. On the second day after the wedding, he flew to the UK to look for his first love, who left in a huff. Vincent didn't stay in the new house for a moment. He just said coldly, "Selena, don't expect to get anything from me. You know, we're just in a business marriage. So after getting married we can each play our own way and set each other free." I agreed obediently and played the role of a gentle and considerate wife. Before long, I kept a male college student in Tsinghua University. Both in appearance and personality, William was very much to my taste. The only drawback was that he was occasionally disobedient. For example, he was never willing to call me sister. I twirled the diamond ring on my finger. This 10-carat diamond ring was carefully cut and crafted by the world's top craftsmen and was extremely eye-catching. However, I felt that it couldn't compare to the simple silver ring that William gave me at all. I sighed, feeling a bit regretful. Vincent is back. Well, during this period, I should be a bit more restrained when playing with William. After all, it's an underground relationship that can't be made public. I went to the airport as promised to pick up Vincent. The man was wearing a straight black suit and slowly walked out of the passageway while pushing his suitcase. His handsome face was particularly eye-catching among the crowd. I waved at Vincent. He walked up to me and nodded slightly. "There's a business party tonight. We'll go directly to the restaurant from the airport later." He paused for a moment before continuing, "As before, remember to act a bit more intimate with me in front of others." I nodded obediently. But I couldn't help sneering in my heart. Vincent was wearing an abstinent white shirt, and the top button was even buttoned up. However, it still couldn't cover the ambiguous red marks. I guessed aimlessly. Probably Vincent also had a passionate night with his first love. He didn't even hide it when he cheated and still expected to play the role of a loving couple with me, but it didn't matter anyway. He had his first love, and I had my kept man. We both had a bright future. There had never been any common topics between Vincent and me. So along the way, we just let the silence spread. When we arrived at the party venue, I took his arm and put on a sweet smile, starting to play the role of a seemingly affectionate couple. Everyone present praised us for being a good match. Actually, everyone knew it well. It was just hypocritical social talk. I felt stuffy and hoped that this boring banquet would end earlier. I found an excuse and left, walking alone to the balcony, wanting to get some fresh air. However, as soon as I got to the door, I heard someone whispering, "Hey, do you know William, the mysterious crown prince of the William family in the Beijing circle? I heard that he came back from studying abroad some time ago. I didn't expect to see him here tonight. Help! I saw him too. He's really so handsome. If he could be my boyfriend, I'd be willing to live in a villa and drive a luxury car." William already has a girlfriend, right? He never posted on social media before, but last night, surprisingly, he posted a photo of holding hands on Moments. Isn't that making their relationship public? I heard that there had never been a woman around him. I'm really curious about who managed to win the heart of this hard-to-get person. Hearing their gossip, I frowned. I already knew that my little lover had the same name as the crown prince of the Beijing circle. But one was a poor college student, and the other was a powerful and noble person with a prominent status. They couldn't be the same person, right? I opened my mobile phone with doubts. Only then did I find that under the moments that William posted about holding hands, many mutual friends had already liked it, and they also sent their congratulations in the comment section one after another. They were all friends who were quite close to me in the Beijing circle. Not only that, even my cold-natured husband also commented with, "Congratulations." Staring at the screen, I even stopped breathing for a moment. I was so shocked that I couldn't say a word. I had actually kept the crown prince of the Beijing circle as my lover? Haha, and my husband even said, "Congratulations." Just at this moment, Suddenly someone gently patted my shoulder. Afraid that my guilty secret would be discovered, my body trembled. I forced myself to calm down and turned around, meeting Vincent's cold expression. He put one hand in his pocket and raised his eyebrows inquiringly. "What's the matter? Are you so surprised to see me?" I let out a breath. "Nothing." I put away my mobile phone and smiled apologetically in the darkness. "Sorry, husband. I just made the mistake that all women in the world would make." In the hidden corner, no one noticed us. So Vincent didn't bother to continue playing the role of a gentle husband. He impatiently loosened his tie. "It's almost time. I guess we can call it a day. Let's go. I'll go to the hotel, and you can go home. We won't interfere with each other." I quickly agreed. It would be better to leave earlier. William was still at the party venue. If we really bumped into each other, wouldn't it be impossible to deal with the situation? I sighed. Life is hard. Being a woman is even harder. As soon as we walked out of the banquet hall, Vincent impatiently put a cigarette in his mouth. I could understand that. After acting with me, his unfamiliar wife, for a whole night, how could he not be annoyed? I took my keys and was about to go to the parking lot to drive the car over and wait for him. There was a ding sound of the lighter cover being opened behind me. Then, there came a low curse. Damn it, out of fire. I turned around gloatingly, wanting to enjoy the embarrassed look of Vincent who couldn't light his cigarette. But suddenly, I saw a tall and straight figure slowly walking out of the darkness. The man was playing with a silver lighter in his hand. As his fingers flipped, the flame of the lighter flickered on and off. He walked up to Vincent and smiled lightly. "Buddy, can't your lighter even light a cigarette? Mine was given by my girlfriend. I just refilled it 2 days ago. Let me lend it to you to light your cigarette." The street lamp illuminated William's extremely familiar face. I was shocked in my heart and quickly retreated into the shadows. Vincent reached out to take the lighter and lit his cigarette. He said casually, "Thanks. It's quite a coincidence that our lighters are of the same style." I eavesdropped in the corner and couldn't help but hold my forehead and smile bitterly. Of course they're the same. Because the lighter of yours was also given by me. I must be more careful when giving gifts next time. I really can't order 2 of the same things again. William had always been very competitive. He looked at Vincent, with his brows and eyes looking proud. "It's quite a coincidence indeed. However, my lighter seems to be the more expensive one. It should be a bit more special than yours." William raised his eyebrows and showed a proud smile again. "No, buddy, I just noticed that you didn't even wear your wedding ring. It doesn't look like you're married at all. Learn from me. I always wear my couple ring when I go out." "Ah, from this point of view, it seems that my relationship with my girlfriend is better." William opened his left hand and showed the silver ring to Vincent. The side engraved with the initials of my name and his was presented in front of Vincent like this. At this moment, I was really sweating nervously. Vincent was already a bit impatient, however. As soon as his eyes fell on that ring, his expression became stunned. He unconsciously rubbed the silver lighter repeatedly. After a while, he threw it back to William with an unhappy look. Vincent exhaled a puff of smoke and said coldly, "Boring." When the car finally pulled back slowly, only Vincent was left at the entrance. He got into the passenger seat and slammed the door heavily, still with a trace of displeasure on his brows. Vincent sneered, "Is falling in love such a rare thing nowadays? Naive little brats. Just taking a cigarette break, they can show off their girlfriends for ages." Honey, I'm sorry. The girlfriend that the naive guy mentioned just now was actually me." In the silence, Vincent suddenly sat up straight and slowly moved closer to me. The distance was so close that I could even feel his warm breath on my face. I shifted uneasily. What on earth was he doing? This guy really had no sense of propriety. With a click, the ambiguous atmosphere disappeared completely. Vincent fastened my seat belt for me. His long eyelashes drooped down, and those deep eyes looked at me coldly. Vincent reproached, "What were you thinking? You didn't even fasten your seat belt." However, the next second Vincent suddenly froze and frowned. He touched my collarbone and said in a cold voice, "Selena, why is there a hickey here?" I looked down in shock. Only then did I realize that at some point, the cuff of my dress had slipped a bit, revealing the red hickey on the edge of my collarbone. William had always been mischievous and liked to leave marks in some hidden places. However, I was quite good at acting. I calmly pulled my sleeve back to its original position and gave Vincent a gentle smile. "I got bitten by a mosquito accidentally on my way back to the parking lot just now." My eyes casually landed on the hickey on his neck. "Come to think of it, are there also a lot of mosquitoes in England? I see you've been bitten quite a few times too." Vincent leaned back in his seat and said sarcastically, "Stop being so sarcastic. You know perfectly well that I went to England to see her. But this time when I came back, we've already broken up. I won't go back again." I was a bit surprised. "Why?" Vincent loosened his tie, looking casual. "The one you can't get is always the best. Once you've tasted it you'll find it's just so. The so-called first love, after going to bed, becomes as ordinary as plain rice." He turned his face sideways and sneered, "Selena, you're not worried that your position is unstable, are you? Relax. When I got married it was because I took a fancy to you. Be good. The position of Mrs. Vincent will always be yours." But actually I didn't want to be Mrs. Vincent for a long time. I found it funny in my heart but still nodded obediently. Vincent curled his lips with satisfaction. He put another cigarette in his mouth, took out his lighter and then realized there was no fire. "TSK, that kid I met when smoking today was really annoying. Coincidentally his lighter was also given by his girlfriend and the initials of his girlfriend's name are the same as yours. Selena, remember to buy me a new one. I don't want to use the same one as his. By the way, engrave our initials on it too." I almost blurted out, "You don't deserve it." But fortunately I held it back and gave Vincent a sweet smile. "Okay, got it." During the 1 year of marriage, Vincent had always treated me like an obedient pet. Indeed, I always appeared to be very docile in front of him. However, in fact, I had never been a goody-goody girl. The company was always busy in the morning. Employees passing by in a hurry nodded and greeted me. "Hello, President Selena." I responded with a faint smile. As soon as I arrived at the office, there was already a large stack of documents on the desk. I picked up the materials and started to review them one by one. The reason why I agreed to marry Vincent at the beginning was not only because of the family's request but also because of my own ulterior motives. The family business was on the decline, and there was an urgent need to relieve the financial crisis through marriage alliances. Moreover, due to the preference for sons over daughters among the family elders, I had been unable to enter the management of the family business for a long time. By marrying Vincent, I could naturally enter the Vincent family group to show my abilities. Acting docile in front of Vincent was just to dispel his suspicion of me. I had my own ambitions. I was busy until evening, and basically all the documents had been processed. I stretched myself, took out the latest financial statement for this season that had just been delivered. The last piece of the puzzle was complete. I opened the bottom drawer with a key. Then, I put all these materials into a handbag. Suddenly, a special notification sound popped up on my mobile phone. It was a message from William. "I miss you a little." After that banquet, to guard against Vincent, the number of times I met William had become fewer and fewer. Coupled with the fact that I became very busy at work, the frequency of my replies had inadvertently decreased a lot. Male favorite, "Are you free tonight? I'd like to invite you to dinner after class." Male favorite, "I've bought concert tickets. That pianist you like the most will be there. Do you want to go together?" Male favorite, "You're not replying to my messages? Are you busy?" Male favorite, "It's been a long time since we went to the hotel. Room 1201 in the old place. Are you coming?" I just got off work. I'll be there soon." Male favorite, "It's our school's anniversary. Can you come to accompany me?" Male favorite, "Okay, you're silent again, sister silence." Male favorite, "Room 1201 in the hotel." Okay, I'm coming." Male favorite, Do you want to have midnight snacks? Shall I pick you up? No, I'm not free. Male favorite. What about going to the hotel then? Time is like water in a sponge. As long as you are willing to squeeze it, there will always be some. Counting carefully, it had been almost a month since William and I only met in hotels and hadn't had a proper date. Perhaps seeing that I didn't reply, William sent another message. All right, actually, I lied. It's not that I miss you a little, but that I miss you very much, super much. I couldn't help but laugh. This fool. He always said some very childish love words, but somehow he always made people feel his headlong love. I looked at the calendar. Today was a day that I had marked with a red pen long ago. It was William's birthday. I curled my lips and typed a reply, I miss you too. Let's meet at the bar. I've reserved the whole place for tonight. The bar beside Jing University was the place where William and I first met. That day, Vincent flew back to England overnight to please his first love and just to accompany her to a concert. I was very considerate and helped him pack his luggage. Vincent lit a cigarette and smiled with pity. Selena, you're really a dutiful wife. Sometimes, seeing you bustling around me and taking care of everything, I really feel a bit sorry for you. Go out and see the outside world more. Don't always be so narrow-minded. I had always been obedient. So that night, I came to the bar and hired all the male models. When I was half drunk, I suddenly looked up and saw a tall figure leaning against the bar and drinking alone. The man's eyebrows and eyes were extremely flamboyant, with a rakish and charming appearance. He was 1,000 times better looking than the male models who were accompanying drinks that night. He was very much to my taste. I walked slowly over and directly sat on that man's lap. His face darkened and he said in a deep voice, "Get down." I smiled and stuffed a bank card into his shirt pocket. Hey, I like you very much. There's 5 million yuan in the card. Be my boyfriend, will you? He pursed his lips and his expression became colder. You've got the wrong person. I'm a student, not a male model. And I have a name? Before he could finish speaking, I grabbed his collar and kissed him on the lips, sealing his words with a kiss. This was how our relationship began. The familiar bar counter was still there. William had been waiting for me there for a long time. When he saw me, he said in a sarcastic tone, "Oh, isn't this Sister Silence? Been quite busy lately, huh? Finally found time to grace me with your presence, have you?" I smiled and took out a cake from my bag and put it in front of William. Don't be angry. I remember today is your birthday. Happy birthday. Only then did William's lips curl up slightly and his mood improved a little. I lit the candles for him. William closed his eyes and made a pious wish towards the candles. Under the flickering deep yellow candlelight, that handsome face that always looked haughty somehow became a bit softer. After a long while William blew out the candles. I asked jokingly, "Is it a very important wish? You seem to think about it for a long time." William just looked at me intently with his eyelashes drooping. Just when I thought he wouldn't answer, he suddenly said, "I have only one wish. I want to be with you forever." My first reaction was to find it funny. The word forever is so easy to say, but it's not that easy to achieve. But when I looked up, I met William's extremely serious expression. In those familiar eyes, there was still no ripple on the surface. But deep inside, there were emotions that I couldn't understand brewing. It was like a sudden summer shower. The drizzling love wet the hem of my clothes. The song in the bar changed to the next one and began to play slow jazz. In such an atmosphere, it seemed that all lies could be unconditionally forgiven. I propped my face up and said casually, "If I tell you that I've been lying to you from the very beginning, would you still want to be with me?" William's expression blanked for a moment. The corners of his lips that had been raised were pursed into a straight line. He sat up straight and looked down at me. "What do you mean?" I ignored William's angry look. I just smiled and straightened his messy collar for him. "There's no need to get so angry, is there? From the time we started dating until now you haven't revealed your identity either." Young master. William was at a loss for words. He poured a glass of whiskey irritably and drank it all in one gulp. "I didn't mean to hide it." "Forget it. Now we're even. Tell me, what have you lied to me about? I smiled brightly, then I'll tell the truth. I have a husband. I'm actually a married woman. William choked on the whiskey and couldn't stop coughing. I patted his back and comforted him, however it's just a business marriage. And we're going to get divorced soon. Only then did William calm down. He said in a sarcastic tone, "Oh, so I've been a male mistress for over 4 months." I said sincerely, "I'm sorry. It's all my fault. If you can't accept it and want to break up, that's okay too. Let's try to part on good terms." William stared at me and suddenly laughed. He snorted meaningfully, "Oh? Did you hear me say I want to break up?" I was stunned for a moment. William moved closer to me and said in a bewitching voice, "Also, is it okay to do anything, sister?" This was the first time William called me sister. My ears tingled with a numb feeling because of this one sentence. William lifted my chin and forced me to look up. The next second, he kissed me on the lips. As soon as I entered the hotel room, I fell into William's arms. It was more passionate than any other time before. Amid the ups and downs, I almost lost my voice. I whimpered and bit William's shoulder. However, instead of paying attention to my pleas for mercy, he chuckled even more arrogantly, "Sister doing this with me. Your husband won't be jealous, will he?" I thought absently, oh no, William was really angry. The mobile phone on the bedside table kept ringing, showing that it was Vincent calling. But neither of us had the time to pay attention to it. William gritted his teeth and whispered in my ear, "Sister, I'm begging you. After you go back, quickly mention divorce to your useless husband. I don't want to be the other man anymore." When I got up and looked at the clothes scattered all over the floor, I couldn't help sighing. The slip dress I wore last night had been completely torn apart by William. I kicked the culprit, who was still sound asleep on the bed. William was sleeping soundly and lazily turned over. How annoying. In the end, I could only put on William's shirt and coat to go home. When I opened the door of my house, I was surprised to see a man sitting on the sofa. I said in astonishment, "Why are you here?" On the coffee table were a cake with melted cream and an ashtray that was almost full to overflowing. Vincent seemed to have been waiting here all night. He sneered coldly, "This is our wedding room. Can't I come back? Yesterday was my birthday and I wanted to spend it with you. I waited for you all night. Why didn't you come home?" I didn't answer. Vincent raised his head and our eyes met. He suddenly lost his composure and stood up. "Selena, where the hell did you go fooling around?" I didn't need to look in the mirror to know what I looked like now. The open collar revealed a large area of skin which was covered with ambiguous hickey marks and the tooth marks left by William. Oh well, the affair has been exposed. Finally, the mask of the good girl can be taken off. I spread my hands, feeling extremely calm. "As you can see, I went out to find my lover." Vincent's eyes were red with anger as he said furiously, "Damn it, how dare you? You actually dare." Vincent picked up the ashtray and threw it viciously at the wall. He took a deep breath and said in a deep voice after a while, "Who is that person?" His eyes fell on me, and he was almost laughed out of anger. "Shit, you're still wearing your lover's coat? Why are you dressed the same as that idiot I met when smoking?" He supported his forehead. Right. No wonder the lighter is the same style and the initials are also the same. I even commented, "Congratulations," on moments. Damn it. Vincent went crazy and knocked down the whole shelf. The wine bottles were broken, and the place was in a mess. I still said with a smile, "Bingo, congratulations. You guessed it right. My lover is William." "Why are you so angry? Since we got married, haven't you also been having affairs all the time? And we've already agreed that we can each play our own game. However, since you found out, let's talk about the divorce." Vincent was silent for a while. He put a cigarette in his mouth irritably and took a hard puff. "Selena, you think too highly of yourself, don't you? You think that by relying on William, you can leave me, right? You're so naive. Maybe he just regards you as a plaything. If we divorce, the company will withdraw its investment from the Selena family. Then you can just wait and watch your family go bankrupt. Without me, you're nothing." I raised my eyebrows and didn't comment. Vincent slowly exhaled a puff of smoke, with a confident look on his face as if victory was within his grasp. Selena, I know you've always been a good girl. This time, he must have seduced you, right? If you break up with him, I can still forgive you. We've both cheated on each other. I can let bygones be bygones. I'm also tired of playing around outside and want to return to the family. In the future, you can just be my Mrs. Vincent peacefully. I said regretfully, what a pity. I don't want to be Mrs. Vincent anymore. I just want to be the unique Selena. Don't flatter yourself. I've never been a good girl and I don't need your forgiveness. You must agree to the divorce. I took out the documents that I had prepared long ago from my handbag and put them on the coffee table and pushed them in front of Vincent. These are all the evidence I got from working in the company for a year. False accounting, tax evasion. Tell me, if this news gets out, will the stocks of the Vincent family group drop to the limit? Vincent's eyes were bloodshot. He frantically flipped through those reports. Finally, he pressed the still-burning cigarette butt on the paper. Flames rose, the paper burned, curled up, and turned into ashes. Although it had no life, somehow it made people feel that it was weeping. I took a step back, still calm and composed. I have backups of all the materials. It's useless for you to burn them. Vincent slumped down on the sofa, seeming exhausted. What on earth do you want? We divorce. I held up 3 fingers, just enough for Vincent to see the silver ring on my ring finger. I smiled brightly. Also, 30% of the shares of the Vincent family group will all be transferred to me. Vincent was so angry that he slammed the door and left. I looked around leisurely. The living room was full of fragments everywhere. The cake and cigarette butts were mixed together, turning into an indistinguishable mess. It was like a ruin. But that's okay too. Disorder and chaos can bring about new life. Just then, the mobile phone rang. It was a message from William. Just woke up. Why aren't you here? You just left me here all alone while looking so lovely? Did you go to work? Why don't you say anything? Could it be that you don't want me anymore? TVT, I remembered. Yesterday you said we should part on good terms. Don't tell me you're going to abandon me after our goodbye sex. Whoa, no way, I'll keep pestering you. I don't want to break up. I couldn't help laughing out loud. I raised my mobile phone and took a picture of the messy living room for him. Just went home and talked about divorce with my useless husband. Reply 1 if you agree to have an affair at home. Reply TD if you don't agree. William sent a dog-rolling expression. 11111111. I'll be there right away. In the end, we didn't have an affair. William brought a snakeskin bag and began to clean up the garbage diligently. This young master had always been pampered and never did any housework before, but he was quite decent at cleaning up. While mopping the floor, William pretended to sigh. It seems that your husband is really not good. He made the house like this. TSK, I guess he has a tendency for violence. Such a person is really scary. Fortunately, it's just a business marriage. And I also noticed that there's hardly anything of his in this house. This kind of scumbag just deserves a divorce. Looking at his smug look, I couldn't help but curl my lips. So happy? William said righteously, yes. I'm going to be your legitimate boyfriend soon. How can I not be happy? I had the idea of teasing him, but you're now taking the place of the other man. Aren't you afraid that I'll cheat on you and find someone else in the future? William's smile froze. He smoothed his messy bangs and said gloomily, I'm different from your ex-husband. I'm not a boring old man like him. I'm young, in good shape, and didn't you also say that you like my face the most? William took out a card from his pocket and handed it to me. He looked serious. Also, I have a lot of money. I'll support you in the future. I've saved all the money you transferred to me as keeping fees before, and I've transferred all my money to this card. I'll hand it all over to you. Don't leave me, okay? I deliberately spoke slowly, then, William slightly frowned, nervously waiting for my answer. It depends on your performance. Looking forward to working with you in the future, boyfriend. William placed a gentle kiss on my forehead like a feather. Yes, ma'am. Recently, I haven't gone to work in the company. However, I've occasionally heard news about Vincent. It said that Vincent has been in a terrible mess dealing with those bad accounts. The amount of tax evasion is huge, and he's tried his best to make up for the money. Of course, I didn't forget to add fuel to the fire. Just by slightly leaking a bit of the news, the stocks of the Vincent family group showed a downward trend. As I expected, before long, Vincent sent a message of compromise. I signed my name on the share transfer agreement, feeling in a great mood. I raised my eyebrows at Vincent. Nice cooperation, President Vincent. Vincent's face was so gloomy that it seemed water could drip from it. It had only been a month since we last met, but he seemed like a different person. His cheeks were deeply sunken, and he looked haggard. He didn't even shave, looking down and out. He completely lost his former noble temperament. I stretched myself. Let's go and get the divorce certificate. In the Civil Affairs Bureau, Vincent remained silent all the time, until the staff stamped the divorce certificate, symbolizing that everything was settled. Vincent suddenly said, "Selena, the reason you married me was to use me, right? Did you ever truly love me?" After getting the divorce certificate, I finally felt at ease. I got up slowly and couldn't help sneering at Vincent. "Vincent, don't you think it's funny? You boasted of being affectionate, but on the second day after our marriage, you flew to England to find your first love. But within a year, you said that the woman you'd slept with and got bored you. A selfish, despicable, and cold-blooded guy like you dares to talk about true feelings?" I patted Vincent's shoulder. "You've always regarded women as playthings. I didn't expect that you'd also have a day when you're toyed with by a woman. You're right. From the very beginning of this marriage, my motives were not pure. I just wanted to use you and regard you as a tool to climb up. So what? I'm the winner of this game. Just admit defeat obediently." Vincent's face was as pale as a sheet. He clenched his fist with one hand and was even shaking with anger. He gritted his teeth and said, "Selena, you're really vicious. So what if I'm scolded? Anyway, the shares and the property I got from the divorce are already in my hands." I hummed a song and walked out, casually waving goodbye to Vincent. "Thanks for the divorce property sent by my ex-husband. It just serves as the startup capital for my business. Bye-bye." "Goodbye, my useless ex-husband. I'm going to start a beautiful and bright new life." A red Ferrari was parked at the entrance of the Civil Affairs Bureau. William had repainted it overnight and painted Q-version figures of him and me on the car, blatantly declaring his sovereignty. It was raining outside. William hurriedly opened the door and came to hold an umbrella for me. Although the umbrella could shelter 2 people, it was still tilted towards me, on this gray and rainy day. But with him by my side, I suddenly felt that this gloomy weather wasn't so annoying. The sports car sped away, and the world in the rearview mirror was getting farther and farther away. For some reason, Vincent stood in the rain for a long time and was reluctant to leave. That night, the topic of #the mysterious person spent a huge amount of money to set off a grand firework display for his girlfriend #rushed to the top of the headlines in the Beijing circle. The evening breeze was a bit chilly. I leaned against William's arms and quietly watched the magnificent fireworks blooming in the sky. When the fireworks dispersed, they looked just like broken stars falling into the city. Suddenly, I thought of the scene on William's birthday. The tiny glimmers from the birthday candles falling were actually a bit similar to the trajectories of the falling fireworks. The fireworks looked round from the front, and from the side, they resembled the face of a loved one. At this moment, I turned my head and met William's gentle eyes. I asked with a smile, "You said on your birthday that you had only one wish. Has that wish changed now?" William hugged me. His chin rested on my shoulder, very close. His warm breath made the tips of my ears feel a bit hot too. "It will never change in my whole life. I want to be with you forever and ever." I stretched out my left hand and quietly hooked William's little finger. "Then let's make a pinky promise." William's kiss landed on my face. "Okay, pinky promise. Never change." Extra from William's perspective. "William, there's a concert at school tonight. Do you want to go and watch it together?" "Sure. I decided to go to the concert just to kill the boring time. By the time we arrived at the auditorium, we were already late. The performance had started. The hall was pitch dark. Only one spotlight slowly lit up. I casually raised my eyes, but unexpectedly, it was a sight that took my breath away. The girl on the stage was sitting quietly in front of the piano, and her fingertips danced on the keys like butterflies. The light outlined her profile. She was as beautiful as a sculpture.